Hi, welcome back to the channel, TrainStation 2. Alright, I found out that Mobskie actually is a free-to-play as well, and you have my respect there, my friend. So even if I lose this last competition to you, I think I'm happy with that because initially I thought Mobskie is a pay-to-win, but I think I'm very happy that he came on board my YouTube channel and commented actually he is free-to-play. The only difference is that he's an Android player while I'm an Apple player. So for Android player, normally I understand that they're able to gain gems by playing other games, and then they'll be rewarded with gems, and I think that's the reason why he's able to expedite or course of in terms of the production and eventually get faster at that last so-called 10 seconds or so of the game. Whereas for Apple user, you don't have that luxury of a gem. Every time you watch a video, it's one gem and that's about it. Okay, so of course there are other things that we can do. Normally it's a survey in Singapore which grants you really tiny amount of gems, which is really not worth the amount of time spent in doing. Probably they grant you like 2 gems per survey, and when the survey is sometimes interrupted halfway because you couldn't fulfill certain criteria. So that's, I think, the stark difference between us. And of course, I think I did note that one stark difference between us is really the warehouse spacing. So time and again I've been mentioning warehouse spacing is important. I started really late, I think in region 3, late region 3, then I spotted the 5 building technique. So I'm going to emphasize again, I mean, if you're new to the channel, I want to emphasize the importance of warehouse spacing. If you have great warehouse spacing, like my friend there, Mobskie, basically what's going to happen is that you can pack all the finished products or even raw materials all into the warehouse and you don't have to worry about that. But that is my constant so-called concern and sadness, I would say, because of my tiny warehouse space. So every time I can only fit in the right so-called small tiny right amount of materials or complete items there, because for me I wouldn't be able to fit in any non-Japanese event items into the warehouse most of the time, because I'm going to left them in the core factories, which I have 6 of them. So these 6 core factories acts as my interim warehouse spacing, which I put the input tray there as to store all the raw materials, because normally I'll store the production by filling it all to the output tray to the brim. You can see just now. So whatever happens in my input would act as my interim warehouse spaces for raw materials, whereas the output tray for those factories will be those finished products. So that's how I work around with the tiny warehouse space. But if you have really a huge one, you have the luxury to make sure that you have all the Japanese items, maybe thousands of them in the warehouse, and you can just keep on delivering throughout the whole competition without needing time to manufacture. How I wish I had really a huge warehouse spacing. Alright, now back to the 5 building technique. I'm going to share with you this. If you've seen my so-called maps in the train station itself, you'll realize I only have 5 buildings laid out, of which there'll be a special building in the center surrounded by 4 common buildings. So with this, you are constantly receiving 4 upgrade requests, and what you can do is that with the blue maps you can get from so-called the ship trade, you can actually complete that request for building upgrades and then get the population, and once you hit the right amount of population you will get your warehouse upgrade. So that's how you can upgrade your warehouse. If you are in region 1 and 2, congratulations, you better start this 5 building technique soon. Okay, so I have really a tiny warehouse. That is really the concern there. Okay, of course, I think back to this Japanese event, I think almost coming towards an end, and when I do this video right now, we probably have a last fight, the last day before the last competition ends, and eventually you claim all those event coins, and eventually you can claim your legendary train if you have not, the samurai. And as for me, I'm going to claim all the gold that I can. There's a limited number of gold I can claim this round. Normally I'll try to claim everything, but I think without able to win first and I skip one of the competition, this is the so-called the worst performing event for me. And of course I did realize, I did mention also many times, the grouping makes life still really difficult. So that's really the fact of life. I mean, apparently what is going to happen is that Mobskie and myself, we are trying to avoid each other so much that we just try to start late, but unfortunately I don't know why, probably the systems doesn't really have many of so-called of the same level people playing. I'm not too sure about that, but we are grouped together throughout the whole event itself. So based on the number of competitions I've played, every single competition, I think I met him. I think except for the first one. Otherwise, subsequently events from the competition second one onwards, I've been seeing him in my competitions. So that could be a reason why that my so-called rewards has been so tiny, because he's really a fantastic player, really fast. And I think I'll have my full respect in the context that right now I understand that he's just basically using gems rather than pay to win. And his gems is basically earned from Android player playing other games rather than spending money. So I think he already mentioned he didn't spend a single cent. So that is my full respect there. But of course, set aside between Android and Apple players. So if you are Android players, congratulations, you have that advantage over Apple players. As for Apple players, I think you got to work really hard like myself. So far you can see in the ranking chart is again two of us fighting neck to neck. I think there is no other way out. I mean, given my tiny trash of so-called threshold of 14 gems, that's the maximum I can spend. There's no way I can actually do anything faster besides really drilling into this manufacturing process and delivery process. And with the last competitions, I'm going all the way out, because after this it will be the so-called less exciting events. Competition will be those whereby I collect stars, and then eventually like Train Tycoon type of event, those mini events, which you can then collect parts as well. So this itself, I still have so-called trains that I wish to collect. There are two more, one rare and one common. I'm really assured I'm really able to collect that common train, which is Shinobi. But I'm really hoping that if possible, and really if really lucky, I must say really lucky, I may be able to collect a rare train. If you're in my shoes, with probably a few hundred event keys away, you could try this, because you got to bear in mind you have 48 hours after the event to complete all jobs. So if you could quickly finish all the jobs that you have, i.e. concentrate on finishing one before you start on the other. The reason why is because you will be able to generate new jobs, right? So once you generate new jobs, you have the remaining of 48 hours post event. Hear me right? So you have additional 48 hours to complete them after the end of the competition, and eventually you gain more than sufficient event keys, hopefully, and you can claim your type of trains that you wanted. So Dr. Yellow is really something that I wish to get, but it's a bit tough because it's 1200 and I'm now only 400 plus. So this is what I meant. I mean, most importantly, you must know your target, what you want. For me, I already hit my target for this event. 2 legendaries and 1 epic is already a bonus. 2 legendary is my primary target, and epic is already a bonus. And then if I could, I would like to get the rare. If not, a common will do, right? So I'll emphasize one more time, please concentrate on doing one job at a time. Once you completed it, then you can actually generate another job. So with that job, then you can actually put it aside, do not do it, and eventually you can complete it within 48 hours, and that will add on to all your event keys collections. So do not think that you need to exchange for the trains now within the competition, before the competition ends. There's no need to. You can do so 48 hours before they close the whole event. So normally they'll give a reminder like if you have left with 48 hours. So that is in the news. Once the end of the whole competition, there'll be a news icon on the top, not say top, actually is on the center on the right hand side. So you have that icon appearing above that Sakura, and normally that will be the case where they tell you that the news is you ended the event, you have 48 hours to do your job, and then that will count it towards the rewards, and you got to claim your rewards within that so-called 48 hours. Otherwise they will convert everything to meta keys for you. So you better claim what you wanted during that period of time. There's no extension to that. Alright, so with the continuous moving towards completion and rushing to collect those EPs, I'm also inevitably collecting XPs. So with that, I push myself currently to 262 really fast, I must say, towards 300. So I've not been spending any metal keys at all. I'm trying to save metal keys. Why so? Because once I hit 300, I'll be entering to the next region, region 6. Then I will need to have a good number of metal keys to start with. I'll always target to have at least, I would say, 3000 metal keys. With those 3000 metal keys, I will try to purchase 200 metal keys, 5 numbers of them. That will cost me 1000, and the remaining 2000 metal keys, out of the 3000 I'm going to save, I'll buy 2100 keys containers. So in generally there'll be 2100, and then there'll be 5 of those 200s. Hopefully there'll be a good mix of a common, rare, epic, and legendary. Okay, so of course, if you have more keys, the higher chance of you completing the collection. So far, I'm stuck with 2 more trains in this region, but I think that's about it. I've got to go on. I couldn't keep on doing opening of those containers, hoping for the 2 trains. I have regrets there leaving this region soon without the completion of that 2 trains into my full collection of Canadian trains, but nonetheless I think that would be helped during the seaport event. Likewise, in other regions, some of them have completed the full set, some have not. Then I will just rely on the seaport event, which normally happens like once to twice a year. Okay, you hear me right, once or twice a year. Alright, so when that happens, I'll just go all the way to fight for the best good amount of rewards and get those missing trains. So this competitions really I got to really focus, because given the fact that I didn't really got a lot of those event coins, I really need a lot of gold. The fact that I'm going to upgrade my current fleet, because whatever happened in the current region fleet would have an impact in the next competition, because once you have entered into the next region, it's always the current region and the previous region. Alright, so in this class competition, I can see a lot of people are very active and really scary here, because this is the most active team I've ever seen. So life has really been difficult, and this event is a life changer, I must say. It's just getting tougher. So I'm coming towards the end of this video. I do wish you good luck in the last event competition. So good luck, and see you soon to give you results in the next video. Goodbye.